One summer moment can change a child's life. Through Toys for Tots Give and Go initiative, your support provides books, games, toys, and outdoor adventures that spark curiosity, creativity, and a love of nature. Whether it's fishing, learning a new sport, reading under a tree, or playing with friends, these moments build confidence and lifelong memories. For too many children, those moments never come. You can help change that this summer. Visit toysfortots.org. Toys for Tots, delivering hope beyond the holidays.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me, taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Okay. C'est moi. It is myself. The great Madam Adams. I have returned myself. I am about to say, I have nothing against AOC. She is a good person who probably, possibly, maybe even gives coins to the Red Cross. Also maybe change in baskets held by street Santas. Often even, possibly, could be, unsure, but possibly, maybe, helps an aged Republican cross a dead-end street whose lone store sells broken Uneeda biscuits. AOC, the woman was a bartender. Talk Mogadishu and Zanzibar, and she'll ask if you want one olive or two. Gaza, she'll say they were very nice people. Myanmar, I mean, please. And she's looking to be president? Not like we haven't choices. You can always send a $3 donation and get an 8x10 enlargement of Mrs. Pelosi in tights. Or, if you're really in luck, you could attend an Anthony Weiner rally. Maybe a hoedown for New Jersey's former gold brick governor, Menendez. Ugh. Meantime, Long Island's Mr. Berman writes me about Alexander Hamilton inviting Jefferson to dinner with James Madison. The writer wasn't there at the time, but he's a historian, so he tells me all of this. He says, in those days, Congress was then debating a site for its permanent capital. The South preferred banks of the Potomac. They compromised, and so now we have a new rose garden, and maybe someday grand ballroom, and maybe a White House that people can get into. I am, for whatever the reason, because my head is on loose, I'm about to discuss Zero Crap Dammy. His anti-Israel behavior had me dig out my old letter from the Governor's Commissioner of Veterans Affairs, Albert Weir. He quotes this from Ronald Reagan, and he sends it to me, and it says, quote, "If we are not one nation under God, then we will certainly be one nation that has gone under." Continuing on his quote, "Our forefathers founded this nation under Judeo-Christian belief. Every document reinforced, 'In God we trust.' Our forefathers came to this uncharted land for the sole purpose of religion and belief in the Almighty without persecution. Left-winged anti-American extremists now manipulate laws and courts to negatively alter our positive way of life. The result is increased general immorality, crime, and reduced patriotism, and our overall belief in God and country." And he says, Military chaplains have even seen titles changed to morale officers. What is that? Eventually, we will all be judged. God bless this God-blessed country. You ever heard, of course you have, of the Plymouth Rock Foundation? Well, I checked it out, and it says, our spirit is gone. Will to resist also gone. We no longer care to pay the price of freedom under God. This land's goodness and glory were yesterday, not for today or tomorrow. Now it's expediency rather than excellence. Our glory was yesterday, not today or tomorrow. We continue to shun the coverage. Our task is to prove such sayers wrong. America, one nation under God, let this be our declaration. Patrick Henry said, we may cry peace, but there is no peace. The war is actually begun. The next gale will bring the clash of resounding arms. Our brethren are already in the field. I know not what course others may take, but give me liberty or give me death. A historian named Russ Walton, I'm getting a lot of patriotic mail. Historian Russ Walton said, we no longer care enough to pay the price for freedom under God. We are more enamored with expediency than excellence or courage. This land's goodness and glory were yesterday. Our task now is to prove such naysayers wrong. Let this be our declaration. So, although I wasn't actually there myself personally, no matter what you might say, the signers of our Declaration of Independence were 56. The eldest, Benjamin Franklin, 56. John Hancock, President of the Congress, age 39. They were merchants, pastors, farmers, lawyers, doctors. One, a servant. Another, a shoemaker. Virginia's Thomas Jefferson, 33. Massachusetts' Samuel Adams, 39. He wore a suit, stockings, and shoes donated from friends to the signer. 7 were over 60 who loaned clothes. 3 in their 20s. The pledge was signed August 2, 1776, under the professional eye of Dr. John Witherspoon, a pastor, and subsequently president of Princeton. They signed for the freedom, liberty, and thanks to the Almighty for creating this United States of America. God bless our country. So I just got a letter from somebody who peed on me. It's not unusual, but it's rare. And they said, they quoted a famous celebrity who was actually the one who was complaining about me. The celebrity I knew personally. I called him and I said, did you write anything against me? This happens to be a very famous guy who has been to my home, who has been to me for dinners, who has been to my parties, who has invited me to restaurants. And he said to me, a Brooklyn crowd who'll stand for hours just to hear why everything is their mother's fault was shouting about the Intifada and decolonization. A bearded Columbia University man explained, we're against Zionism. A Columbia University student shouted, Zionists are Nazis. They claim it might have come from a celebrity. The celebrity would seem to maybe have been Woody. It wasn't. I called him and he said, absolutely not. People have remembered Kanye West when he wore a black mask, when he announced he loves Hitler. Now, some kid from a prestigious college whose great trauma is getting cold coffee at Starbucks is shouting fascism. What frightens us more than radicals is how quickly normal people pretend nothing unusual is happening. Human beings adapt to everything. War, hatred, even $9 coffee, even an imbecilic mayor that we now have. Jews have hoped too many times that madness would disappear on its own. It never disappears on its own. People then continue on and on and on. Plus they give the name of a celebrity who might have said this about me or about anyone, but it's not so. They use the name to hide behind. So, this is an alert. This is to warn everyone. Far as we could check, we believe this was AI dispensing long, hate, untraceable screeds. Its New York City recipient felt it was AI created. Why that feeling? Who knows? Worse, how do we all protect ourselves from this new onslaught? Checking, rechecking the New York City friend, adding for some unknown reason a celebrity's name. I knew that celebrity. They knew nothing of what I am talking about. Modern anti-Semitism has become too intellectual. In the old days, people just hated Jewish people directly. Now, a man in a scarf who looks like he writes poetry about his own beard explains through Nietzsche why the existence of Jews is a threat to humanity. I stood there thinking, at least in the past, the people attacking the Jewish race didn't have graduate degrees. Now the pogromists come from Columbia University. A girl said, "We're against Zionism, not against Jews." Oh, that's like an ex-wife saying, "I'm not against you. I'm just against everything you say, do, and feel." Then someone shouted, "Zionists are Nazis." A passerby said, "I could practically feel my grandmother spinning in her grave fast enough to power half of Queens." So my grandmother celebrated life. She survived actual Nazis. She hid in a basement in Poland with a man whose coughing was so terrible the Germans could probably have found them through the bronchitis alone. And now, some kid from a prestigious college whose greatest trauma is getting cold coffee at Starbucks, is explaining fascism to me? Nobody says sorry, I'm an idiot anymore. Now they say, I am deconstructing the dominant narrative. So I came home. I turned on TV. For an anxious person, it seemed like a good idea. Then Roger Waters appeared, explaining how the world works, and politicians all call this a complicated situation. No, a complicated situation is explaining to your mother while you're still unmarried at 40. When a crowd is screaming outside a synagogue, that's not complexity. That's a bad remake of history with a huge social media budget. But what frightens me more than radicals is how quickly normal people pretend nothing unusual is happening. Human beings adapt to everything. War, hatred, even $9 coffee. And still, before I sign off, if tomorrow someone comes back to that synagogue shouting, "Death to Zionists," maybe I'll go out too. Not because I'm brave. I once fainted during a blood test. But because Jews have hoped too many times that madness would disappear on its own. Let me tell you something, world. It never disappears on its own. It just puts on a suit, goes to university, and opens a TikTok account. Thanks for listening.